How you doing, Raspbernites? Another one of those days with lack of sun, so I do apologize. I also want to apologize because this is not my first attempt at this episode. I actually had this filmed way back on Saturday and ready for upload today, but the only drawback to this new camera of mine is that it will have times when, because the only way to effectively capture with it is to use its onboard capturing software to get it to look halfway decent. In other words, it's a 1080p camera, but when you try and take it into other editors to capture, it's not able to actually capture in 1080p, so you have to use the onboard software with it. And the only drawback to it is most of the time it works like it's supposed to, but every once in a while it just won't, and it'll be completely unusable. Like those small instances where you'll see me from time to time in a video, like my voice will get out of sync or get really deep. That's from capture glitches, and if they're small and they don't last long, I just leave them in there. But this was a rare case where the entire episode was unusable, so I'm having to completely redo it. So, because of that, Zach and I are completely in sync a lot of the time with what we think will make a good episode. So I need to preface this episode by saying that I did not copy this idea for this episode from him. It just happens to be going up after him now. As I said, I had this filmed originally way back on Saturday, and I apologize if you hear any background noise. My mom is home. So, what I want to talk about today, I'll get into in a second. But before I can do that, though, I do want to do two shout-outs. One of them is one that I've owed my friend forever, and I just keep forgetting to do it, and it's to Professor Hitler Balls. Now, I know what you're thinking about the name, but if you know Jess and you know her personality and her sense of humor, you will understand it. But she has been one of my most loyal friends ever since I started here. I love what she does because she's so unapologetic about what she does, and if you like her, you like her. If you don't, she says, screw you, which is the same attitude that I have. I'm not as abrasive personality-wise as she is in some aspects sometimes, but we are kindred spirits in the sense that if you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. So I wanted to give her a shout out because she had some issues come up and she had to start her channel all over again, and she had a really big audience when she was Decadent 7, and I don't think a lot of that audience knows that she is still in existence on YouTube under Professor Hitler Balls. She doesn't make as many videos as she would like to be able to, but when she does make them, they're highly entertaining. So yeah, if you didn't know about Jess still being around under Professor Hitler Balls, go give her some love. If you've never given her some love before, check out her stuff, see if it's your cup of tea. And next up, I want to talk about a subscriber of mine who contacted me, and he and I are really kindred spirits because he has cerebral palsy too, and is in the exact same boat as me. He has a vision for where he wants to be, but it's kind of lacking in equipment to be able to be there right now. So I just want you guys, as many of you that are willing to do it, go and subscribe to him, show him some love. He's going to be doing wrestling videos and entertainment, Blu-ray, DVD, movie videos as well. So he's going to be doing everything that I like to do. So if you like me, I know you're going to like him. His username is JTTFreak001. And before anybody says anything, those are his initials. Has nothing to do with Justin Timberlake. So yeah, please go and support him, show him some love as he tries to get his YouTube feed under him. Only has 2 videos at the time of this recording. Alright, so what is our main episode today? What are we going to talk about? Well, I had originally envisioned this as being an update on the entire portion of this collection, but there's one missing piece which will become obvious as we go through the episode that kind of made it hard to do that. So it was going to only be 2 pieces of that collection being updated, and I thought, well, that's not really entertaining for you guys. It's going to be a very short episode. What can I do to mix it up? And I started thinking, well, I have a lot more subscribers now than I used to, and some people might not know about my opinions on certain films that these 2 pickups actually go with as far as a story arc. So today I am proud to announce that I am fully ready to be avenged on the Razman's reality. That's right, today we are going to be talking about all the films that lead up to the Avengers in the Marvel Universe. So first up, of course, we have Jon Favreau's Iron Man, starring Robert Downey Jr. in the title role as Tony Stark / Iron Man. By the way, I doubt you can see it because of the poor lighting today, but if you can, I do apologize for the major dust on this one. It was one of those ones that was up on the rack on the wall due to space, and it hasn't been watched in a while, so yeah, there's a lot of dust on the old slipcase here. But this is just a fan-freaking-tastic film. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, both as the character and how it was envisioned and look and acting ability. This is just one of the best origin stories I've ever seen. Just dead on in every aspect of it. Just a phenomenal piece of work. So if you haven't seen Iron Man, make sure that you do, and also make sure that you pick up this 2-disc version, because you don't want to mess out on the special features on this, because it is absolutely loaded. So yeah, that's Iron Man. Then next up, of course, is The Incredible Hulk, starring Edward Norton in the title role of Bruce Banner. I really love this film. I think Edward Norton is the perfect Incredible Hulk, and that's why it's a real shame that he and the production team on this film had such a falling out, because for those that don't know, Edward Norton is a comic book fan and was a really big influence on this, really had a true vision for how he wanted it to go, and then for whatever reason, when they got in the editing process and edited the film, he felt like whatever changes they made really affected his vision for the Hulk, so he basically said, screw you, I'm not coming back. And it's just a real shame, because he is absolutely perfect for the role in this. And the thing that I really love about this is not only is it more true to the comic book origin than the Ang Lee film. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really love the Ang Lee film in terms of what it was trying to do visually and how different it was trying to be, but Ang Lee didn't have nearly as good a grasp on the character as they do in this film, because not only is it more in line with the character as he's presented in the comics, but also takes huge inspiration from the show with Lou Ferrigno from the 1960s, which I absolutely love. In fact, it takes such inspiration from that the opening sequence when the Hulk is created is even right out of that TV show. So yeah, there's that, and then there's the fact that there's just so much shout outs to the fans throughout the course of this film. Like, there's so many nuances that are meant to make the hardcore Hulk fan mark out. So yeah, this one, for whatever reason, is incredibly underrated. Most people don't know about this film as much as they know about the others. So if you've never seen this one, make sure you see it, because it's one of my absolute favorites in this line. So that's The Incredible Hulk. Then next up, of course, is Iron Man 2. A lot of people really hated this film, and I just don't get that, because I think this is a phenomenally well done sequel. And yeah, it does have the major problem of not knowing who the main villain was supposed to be. They had both Whiplash and Justin Hammer. Justin Hammer played by Sam Rockwell, and Whiplash, of course, being played by Mickey Rourke. And yeah, they just didn't really know who they wanted the main villain to be, so there is that drawback to it. But I thought the acting and the action was right on par with the first one. I think people need to watch this film again and give it another chance, because I think it is just as good as Iron Man. And I really didn't understand either why they replaced Terrence Howard with Don Cheadle, but I think they're both just as good in the role as War Machine. Like, there's no drop off between the two. So yeah, definitely give Iron Man 2 another shot if you're one of those people that didn't like it. And if you've never seen it, definitely see it, because it's good stuff. So that's Iron Man 2. And now, of course, for those of you that have been with me this whole time, you know that we're getting into the last two, and those are the actual update portion of this episode. So, next up, of course, is Thor. Now, you may be thinking, Raj, you got the 3D edition? What's up with that? Well, it's a funny story. This was a Christmas gift from my aunt, and my aunt knows nothing about film other than the fact that I am really passionate about it. The only kind of movies that she likes are romantic comedies. That's what entertains her. So she has no idea how to pick up a Blu-ray, other than the fact that you're supposed to look for Blu-ray on the case when you go to pick one up. So she just picked up the 3D edition because she thought that was the only edition that there was. So yeah, a little bit of overkill, but all the 2D content is still intact, so I can watch it. And when and if I ever get a 3D TV, hey, this goes right in line with Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, which I had to get because that was the only way to get all the special features for it. So yeah, I'm ahead of the game. I have two of them if I ever decide to get a 3D TV. So this one was absolutely loaded with special features, but I will do a full Blu-ray review of this because I didn't do a Blu-ray review for it yet. Obviously, I did do the cinematic release of the film though. Did really enjoy the film, and Hemsworth is absolutely brilliant in the title role. This is the only thing I've ever seen him in, but he is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, if you haven't seen Thor I think is one of the ones that is the most, along with the Incredible Hulk, the most underrated of all of the Marvel films. So yeah, Thor is absolutely fantastic. See it if you haven't seen it. And then last but most definitely not least, we have Captain America, the First Avenger. This was the only one out of the line that I didn't get to see in the cinemas. So when I checked it out on Blu-ray, it was my first time seeing the film. And I gotta say, I was incredibly surprised by how good this was. I wasn't completely sold on it because I knew Captain America's origin story, and I knew the fact that this whole thing would have to be based in World War II if they were really going to tie Captain America into the Avengers and how he actually became a part of the Avengers. But this is just absolutely fantastic. Not only as far as acting from everyone involved in the film, particularly Chris Evans as Cap and Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull, but the special effects in the film are fan-freaking-tastic. The stuff they did to make Chris Evans look like a skinny rail of a guy in the beginning of the film, just amazing, amazing stuff. I'm not going to say any more about it because, as I said, not only is this one getting a Blu-ray review, but it has to get a full film review because I hadn't seen it before. So I want to save it for that. But yeah, this was so good that I would go so far as to say that other than Iron Man, this is my favorite of all the Avenger films. The solo Avenger films. This really, really, really surprised me. So yeah, I will definitely be talking more about that as time goes on. So yeah, that is the Avengers line. And rather than make the description box all congested, for those of you that haven't seen my full-on reviews of all the ones that I already had in my collection, what I'll do is I'll make an Avengers playlist, and you can go and just click on that playlist in the description box, and all of the pre-existing reviews, whether they be cinematic, Blu-ray, or both, will be in that playlist. So just click on that playlist and go in order of how I put them up. And as everybody, I am so excited by the fact that Joss Whedon is the one that got to not only direct the Avengers film, but also have a hand in writing the script and screenplay. So I think it's absolutely gonna be fantastic and cannot wait for it. And for those that are paying close attention, it's obvious now that the one that is missing from my Marvel collection, and the reason why this turned into an Avengers thing and not just a straight update, is X-Men First Class. X-Men First Class is the only one that I don't have on Blu-ray, and I really can't wait to pick that up at some point because not only did I love the film, but I had to do a spoiler-free review of it because I saw it in the cinema, and I didn't want to give too much away about it. So I definitely want to go into more detail about that film when I pick it up. So I hope you all enjoyed this one. And as always, this is reality according to the Razman. And Razman style, it's not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.